As it states in the title of the video, this particular battle is not very well known. Today, I would like to change that by sharing with you how significant the Aleutian Islands campaign was in World War II. So first off, you may be asking, what are the Aleutian Islands? Great question. The Aleutian Islands is an island chain off of Alaska containing 14 large volcanic islands and 55 smaller ones. Most of the islands are a part of the United States with the exception of a few Russian-owned islands. This all starts prior to Japan entering World War II, when their navy began gathering information about the Aleutians and US military developments on the islands. Unfortunately for Japan, they could not find any relevant information about the military. With little information they had, Japan sent their northern area fleet to launch an air attack against Dutch Harbor, followed by an amphibious assault on Attic. But the US already knew it was coming because they cracked the Japanese naval codes. The attack on Attic was simple, because it was actually uninhabited. As for Dutch Harbor, it was essentially a sitting duck. The Japanese used the foggy weather as a cover to attack, but it backfired when half their torpedo bombs reached their objective. Although the Japanese ended up winning the battle, the US benefited greatly in the long run. A Mitsubishi A6M20 was damaged by ground fire and then crash landed on Aleutian Island. The Americans were able to repair the plane to become operational, and then studied the plane to find ways to expose its weak points. A few days later, the Japanese invaded the islands of Kiska and Attu with ease. In response, the US established an air base on Attic Island and began bombing Japanese positions on Kiska. The Japanese had made Kiska Harbor their main naval base in the campaign. The US kept patrolling the area and slowly picking off the Japanese forces. But it wasn't until the naval battle of the Komandorsky Islands when the US damaged 2 of their cruisers, causing Japan to only use submarines from then on. On May 11, 1943, the US launched an operation to recapture Attu. As a way to defend themselves, the Japanese took the high ground far from the shores. This resulted in a bloodbath, totaling up to 3,929 US casualties. Then, a few weeks later, the remaining Japanese soldiers launched one of the largest banzai attacks of the Pacific Campaign. After a brutal fight, the Japanese forces were defeated, with only 28 soldiers taken prisoner, leaving potentially more than 2,351 Japanese soldiers dead. The operation launched by the US to recapture Kiska was successful, but it came at a cost. On August 15, 1943, 34,426 Canadian and American troops landed on the island. But once again, they found themselves an abandoned island. It turns out the Japanese had left the island 18 days prior to their arrival, but the Americans and Canadians still came out with 313 casualties, all of which were the result of friendly fire, booby traps, diseases, or frostbite. So 92 people were killed along with 221 people wounded to recapture an abandoned island. Nice. There are 2 main reasons why this campaign was incredibly important during World War II. The first being if the Japanese were able to successfully take over the Aleutian Islands or all of Alaska, they would have the ability to control Pacific transport routes, which could have potentially changed the tide of the Pacific Campaign. The other reason is the US was able to obtain a working Japanese aircraft. With the information gathered from this aircraft, the US was able to strategize ways to exploit the faults or weaker features. That concludes the Aleutian Islands campaign. Thank you for making it to the end. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to subscribe to get instant updates on when I upload next. And with all of that said, I hope to see you in the next chapter.